The cosmic microwave background radiation. Every object gives off or emits electromagnetic radiation. When the object is at a constant temperature, it emits radiation with a particular spectrum shape, first theorized by Max Planck in 1900. The shape of the spectrum is of the form shown in the diagram, where the vertical scale gives an idea of the intensity or the energy density, and the horizontal scale is the wavelength. As you can see, there's a peak in the spectrum at a particular wavelength, and the wavelength at which this peak occurs depends on the temperature, or a longer wavelength corresponds to a lower temperature. We're familiar with this idea when we talk about objects glowing red hot at a relatively long wavelength. Then as you heat them further, they become white hot at a shorter average wavelength, and eventually blue hot at a very short wavelength. And this can be shown on the second diagram, where you get a different curve for the different temperatures. How does this relate to the study of space? In 1965, two engineers, Arno Penzias and Robert Wilson, set up an antenna to look for radio waves in space. They thought there was a fault in their equipment because they detected the same signal in every direction they looked. Fortunately, they talked with astrophysicists working in Princeton who had been developing a theory for how the universe may have started and evolved to its present state. This theory suggests that the universe started in a very compact and hot state and has been expanding and cooling ever since. Given the original starting point, there would have been a very high energy electromagnetic radiation with a peak in the gamma region, corresponding to the extremely high temperatures in the early universe. This should mean that there's now low energy or long wavelength radiation throughout the universe, with a wavelength peaking in the microwave region and a temperature equivalent of about 2 or 3 Kelvin, in other words 2 or 3 degrees above absolute zero. This was exactly what the results from Penzias and Wilson showed, which lent a great deal of weight to the theory which has been known as the Big Bang theory.